All right. It is Wednesday, March 31st, 2021, 6:30 Wednesday night. How's everybody doing?
Excellent.
Good?
Excellent. Yeah.
All good? All right. All right. We got Carl, John, Lauren, no Anthony. He's doing business.
Yep.
Myself, and we're off. What's up, John? What do we got?
We almost had our first clean sweep this week with number 58 or 57 with Ryan Matson. He had got all votes but one to win 57. So somebody had to throw a wild card Johan Santana vote out there to mess that up. But we had a nice Ryan Matson won 57. And was that Sue? Did she do it?
Yep. They hear me. Am I supposed that low? Yes, we can all hear you.
Somebody let out too. And
if he gets any closer, she'll be in the screen. So some night when you don't see me, she'll be here. So
when we see the elbow going and bumps you right.
Oh boy.
Oh my God.
So this week we got number 58. We got Jonathan Papelbon for the Phillies. Played from 2012 to 2015. Six-time All-Star. He was part of the no-hitter for Cole Hamels in Atlanta in September of 2014. He's the all-time leader in saves for the Phillies. He two of those six All-Stars were with the Phillies.
Best known for grabbing Bryce Harper around the throat in the dugout.
Which, as much as I like Harper now, that's still one of my favorite videos to watch.
I wasn't sure where you were going with the grabbing first.
I can't vote for the bum just because of that.
For the Eagles, we got Trent Cole. Played from 2005 to 2014, a two-time Pro Bowler. He had 90 sacks, 21 forced fumbles, and a defensive touchdown. For the Flyers, we have Bill Armstrong. He played in 1990 to 91. You forgot that one game he played, Carl? He had the one assist.
One shift.
One point, one assist, and a plus minus of one.
There you go.
I was looking up astronauts. I wasn't even looking up hockey players. I was like, who is this? Where did he find this guy?
You got to dig deep. You got to dig deep here for this game.
Apparently.
So, and then for the outsider, we have Jack Lambert, a four-time Super Bowl champion, a nine-time Pro Bowler, six-time All-Pro, Defensive Player of the Year in 1976, Rookie of the Year defensively in 74, a member of the Steelers all-time team, a member of the NFL's 75th and 100th anniversary team, and he's a two-time all-decade NFL team in the 70s and the 80s, and he's a member of the Hall of Fame in 1990.
What, Dad? Either bring her in the show or don't. She needs to decide what she's doing here.
I'm leaving the room. You don't appreciate my fun.
She has no idea how sensitive the laptop is. It picks up all the background noise. All the background
I'll
noise.
just sit on the couch and shut up.
So Mario, we'll hand it off to you and see who we got here.
So, I mean, if I was going on stats alone, I would probably vote for Papelbon, but he's just too much of a, excuse my language, douchebag.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, but
That's how you really feel.
well, that is me being nice. So I'm going to go Trent Cole.
If you were nice, what would you call him?
No, that was me being nice.
Oh, sorry.
Lauren.
So,
Yeah, I'll go with Trent Cole as well. I don't know. It says this is a week.
it's a week.
Yeah. So
Very weak.
Okay, they all can't be great. I'm sorry.
Well, although Trent Cole is a nice player.
I'm just going to say you're downplaying Trent Cole here. He's a,
But if it was any other week and he was up against other well-known players, you think he would win? No.
Well, yeah. He's second in? I think he's second in sacks with the Eagles, I believe.
Yeah, but I'm talking about
He's up there.
the other teams.
Well, I mean, depending on who he has.
Right.
He had a pretty long career here with the Eagles. And
Mario, your point's well taken. I totally understand what you're saying.
If he wasn't up against Jonathan Papelbon and it was a different Phillies name, somewhat decent,
or Chuck Armstrong and I mean, seriously.
I know.
Seriously,
I thought she was going to sit on the couch.
Yeah, that's not.
So while Sue's there, we'll get her vote then, I guess.
Who's 58? Papelbon's your guy.
No, he's not my guy. He's crazy.
Spoken from a true crazy.
If I knew how to send you a picture, I would, but I don't know how to do it.
A lot of crazy in this room tonight.
Yep.
All right, Carl, then who do you have?
I mean, this is a perfect time for me to go outside the box, and go Jack Lambert. But I mean, it's a Philly show, and I could never vote for an outsider.
Oh, he's from Pennsylvania.
I know, but it's Philly. Great player, deserving of 58, who wore it best. Like keeping a clean sweep. Hopefully, Trent Cole. I believe he still lives in the area. I think he still lives in South Jersey, if I'm not mistaken. Still a big hunter. Good all around, Eagle. Hopefully, I don't know. Is he deserving of the Eagles Wall of Fame?
I think he is. I think so. Yep.
What would make him not eligible for that in your mind?
Because they've missed the boat on a few others that should have been an easy get. But I'll go Trent Cole.
All right, John.
I'm going as well with Trent Cole.
All right,
and I think, Mario, to your point, I think he played a few years after in 14 with the Eagles with the Colts. So maybe he's just a couple of years not removed, enough yet before.
I got you.
So that could be part of the reason. Because I think he's well deserving for it as well.
All right,
for the Eagles Wall of Fame.
So we got a clean sweep.
Yep.
All right. Did you want to do a bracket update?
Well, we were doing pretty good. It's coming down to a couple of players now with the Final Four now being set up here. So it still can go either way. I don't know a few people's names because of their names that they used on the as they didn't sign in as themselves. So I can't really give you updates on their names.
Right.
But we're bad on there. We got 3 or 4 people pretty tightly right now with Gonzaga, with Baylor and Houston as the teams that are still available to win. So
okay, and Nova had a good run, didn't they?
They did. Up until they until they ran up to with Baylor there, but yeah, they did have a nice run. Even in the first half, they played well.
Right.
So.
There's 2 hits.
All right. So
she's having a bad day. Her dentist appointment got canceled. So she's taking it out on this face.
There we go.
No, I'm sorry. I'm going to invest in a muzzle for her.
Jesus God.
I'm serious. Hey, I take it you're going to jump to Eagles.
Yeah, actually, we're going to go Sixers first.
Sixers. All right, John, you're stacking up the losses. What do you got?
Come on, it's 2 losses. I already told you before this road trip they were 4-2 on the road trip.
So it's a short stack.
So I mean, two losses. You played you lost to the 2 best teams you played out there. Right now, as far as their health wise, with Denver and the Clippers, we kind of got a little bit fortunate with the Lakers having LeBron and Anthony Davis being out. that helped out. But it's fine. They come back. They beat Cleveland tomorrow night, and and then we get Joel Embiid coming back on Saturday. So we'll be fine. When do you
get that highly touted George Hill with a busted whatever in the lineup? Does he play this year?
Well, they made the trade so he can play this year. Yeah, I think he'll be back. Shortly as well. Probably sometime later next week, maybe.
So disappointed.
I think it'll all work out. I think it'll be fine. With that, they got. They're still holding on to first place. They're tied right now with the Nets, with first place, and the Nets could move into first place tonight if they beat the Houston Rockets, which they probably should, but they'll go up a half a game on us. But I think it'll be fine. I'm not worried about them.
Carl, you were pretty vocal about this before the show started.
I know. I lost my thunder.
The lights are on now.
I lost my thunder. I even forgot what
Stage fright, or you just forgot?
I just forgot what I said.
I don't know, Lauren. What do you think? Because you're the Sixers fan there as well.
I think they just looked really tired last night. They didn't really seem overly motivated or wanting to play. And I think Ala mentioned it that at this point in a West Coast trip is when you really start to see the guys. They're tired. The trip gets to them. So I think that's really what you saw last night, was just kind of unmotivated, uninterested. I really wish they had won against the Clippers. That would have been cool for Doc, since he's coming, away from his former team. So I wish we could have that one back. But last night they never really seemed interested. It was like it was image, it was half-assed effort. But yeah, I think they'll rebound fine. They get Joel back on Saturday, and they should be well set. I hope it's not more than that. I'm hoping that it's just coast fatigue at this point. But I guess only time will tell.
Yeah, being away from home for 10 days now, and then you got two more days with tomorrow night's game, and and most teams don't have games like that. So as far as road trips that way, so I think it was fine.
And the guys they're limited on what they can do, with COVID regulations. So it's not like they're out and able to enjoy it and bring their families along or anything like that. It's very restrictive. So I'm sure that has to get tiresome after a while for you.
Right,
No doubt.
And then plus, they got outscored 44-22 in the first quarter, and then made a game of it. I mean, of course, it's basketball, so I mean, the final score doesn't really matter too much, because you get a lot of garbage points there at the end. But they were hanging around. But like I said, it was that first quarter just.
I believe Maxey was the high scorer with 14 points.
Yeah, Maxey was.
Just throwing that out there. That's all.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Throwing that out there.
Yeah, he had the 13, and Harris had 12, and Simmons had 11. So yeah, I mean, it was a tough game. Like you said, it was just all around. But those games are going to happen when you're on a road trip like that. So
All right.
you're missing the MVP of the league, and on your team, and playing up against the top team out in Denver in the altitude. So it's all right. It's all right. Everything will be fine.
Have you guys seen the Toby and the Bobby goldfish commercial?
I have not. I heard about
No.
it.
Oh
I
my
heard
gosh,
about
it's so funny. It's so the two of them are reunited in this goldfish commercial, and Tobias Harris is sitting on a couch, and he reaches into the goldfish bag and pulls out a handful, and obviously he has big hands as a basketball player, and he's like, I like to take a full handful. I got 73 here. Well, then Bobby comes over and rips the bag out of his hand and just destroys it, because his hand is 6 times the size of a normal human's hand. And so now he has a handful, and he's like, I definitely have more than 70. And then Tobias Harris is like, Bobby, get the vacuum, because there's goldfish everywhere. It's just, it's a funny commercial, and the two of them back together is always a good time. So, yeah.
Oh, cool.
Cool.
Yeah, well, I see that throughout the games, I guess, coming up.
All right. So you want to move the Eagles?
Sure.
All right.
You're running
Let's
the
go.
controls.
Yeah, you got the button.
All right.
Hey,
So-
so we're jumping to
Go for
Eagles, and I read an interesting article today about all this testing that's going on with the concussion protocol and whatnot, and Tommy McDonald's name came up. Guy's been dead and buried for a few years now, but apparently the old timers, have really taken a hit, and they must have taken Tommy's brain and used it to test, for a lot of things. And they were talking to his son, I believe it's Chris, about it. And apparently Tommy was just, had a lot of brain trauma. There was just a lot of bad juju there, and I just, we had Tommy at the store a few times, talked with Tommy, and we saw his energy. We saw his excitement for the fans, and which leads me to think, is this 17 game schedule, that they're now going to go to? Is that, is that where we needed to go? We've already got enough problems. We got enough issues. I understand you're dropping off an exhibition game where nobody plays anyway.
Right.
And now you've added, a game at the end of the season, making it an 18-game season, or 18-week season,
right.
excuse me. So I just, I look at what a lot of the old timers went through, and I know a lot of these more modern day players, have gone through the Andre Waters,
Right.
Guys, more current to us. You're right, Joe Stinger. Money does talk, but I just think at some point, we really need to protect, the player safety is a little bit more important.
Right.
I think adding a game, at the end of the day, is that what they need?
So was this the plan before, or do you think they're doing it to try to make up money from last year?
Correct me if I'm wrong. I think they've been talking about this.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly. And like you're saying, with back in the day with Tommy McDonald, what were they playing? 12 or 14 game schedules?
Yeah,
Yeah,
even
but they
playing
also
less
had
games.
leather helmets?
Well,
Yeah, you're not really necessarily comparing apples to apples there,
Right.
because some of the guys, if they even wore helmets, you were lucky.
Right.
It's a little bit different now. But is that all that is that what it is? It's just about money for another game. Is there another reason behind why they chose to add on another game?
No, because they're going to eventually end up going to 18 games because you can't have a 17th game in an odd schedule. How are you going to work the home and away games? For each league or each team. So.
There's a players union, right?
Mm-hmm.
How did this get approved by them when they chirp nonstop about
they upped the ante, I believe, 1% from 48 to 49%, because this is all about the revenue sharing, right?
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? As far as owners and players. Lauren, I didn't mean to cut you off. You know what I mean? But that's all the players got out of this was 1%.
Right.
And it may not sound like a whole lot, but it is, when you break and crunch the numbers.
Right.
But they approved it. And I just don't think it's in the best interest, especially today, modern day football, as fast as it is, as aggressive as it is,
Well, part of the problem is, like, as far as the union passing it, all the young guys, that they can't really say anything about it because they don't really want it, but they're not going to be able to. They're not going to say we don't want it because otherwise they get cut. There's only probably like 5% of the league that's making most of the money, and those guys. I don't even think those guys really want it, but if that's it's
just bad. It
Right.
really is. like Mario said, it's all about the Benjamins at the end of the day. I think that's what I mean. We already know this with sports in general. You know what I mean?
It's a business.
We know it absolutely. But when you're talking about life-changing injuries that guys are concussed 4 or 5 times and they no longer can play. It's wrong. It's wrong.
I mean, what's going to happen when one of these guys sustains a career-ending injury in that 17th game when otherwise, it probably wouldn't have happened if that game wasn't even played.
Right.
It just seems like everything, the direction the NFL was moving, the players wanted, their heads and their safety protected, and then they come out and say, yeah, sure, we're going to add another game. It doesn't make any sense to me. I would love to hear some players' comments. I don't know when they'll be allowed to. Yeah,
it'll come out. There'll be comments, and there's already some stuff starting to filter out. But it's just, I mean, the old timers, and I hate to keep going back, 30, 40, 50 years, but those are the guys that, you feel for. They didn't make any money. They worked 2 jobs, right? And, they can't even get compensation from the NFL, for, what they've lost. And the loss here we're talking about is their life.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because, it just, I mean, and I'll bring back Tommy. Tommy lived a good life, 84 years, but, with all the head trauma that was involved, I mean, probably could have lived another 20 years. Who knows with all that energy?
So here's my question. I see a lot of helmet-to-helmet contact that does not get called. So do you think with the addition of 17 and probably 18, do you think that the refs should be made to call that even more so? Because I mean, that's how people get hurt. That's how concussions happen. And it doesn't seem, even though they claim to say it's a big problem and they're going to do something about it, I don't see them doing as much about this as they probably could.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, they'll definitely be calling. I mean, they've been calling it a little bit harder, the past couple of years. Ever since this came about, but it's one of those things where it's so minute as far as like a slight angle if he's got his leaning with his head or not, and if you're coming to tackle me and you're down and I drop my head a little bit and then I get hit by you in the head, it's not like you were intentionally trying to hit me in the head, but we just. 2 bodies moving at different speeds coming together, and it just. Well,
it's just like if you're the quarterback and you don't have the ball in your hand, and I hit you the second after it hits you, after you get rid of the ball, I'm still going to get called for roughing the quarterback.
Well, no. I mean, they're protecting the quarterbacks there a little bit. I mean, it's it's the same thing.
Why not protect the rest of the players?
Well, because then you'll have penalties on every play.
If you do that at first, maybe it sinks in and says, maybe we shouldn't do that. It's just a thought.
College has changed up the rules a little bit, with targeting and whatnot, and
being ejected.
Exactly. So, maybe the pro game, kind of goes in that direction. But we're already, I'm sure we used up our allotted Eagles talk.
We did, but I thought it was.
It's great conversation.
Yeah.
And I think we kind of dug into it. And maybe we ought to kind of bring this back when maybe we got a dead night. We can talk about it a little further. Because there's a lot of interesting comments there. And like Lauren said, as the players start to come out, the modern day players, with their comments and whatnot, and the guys that have really felt the blows of these concussions. You'll be curious to hear these comments. So maybe we can pick this up another night.
Okay.
And talk about it a little bit because we got we got a lot to cover tonight, and I know Mario's chafing at the bit to cut us off.
I'm just going to interject 1 second there. So whenever we decide to bring this conversation back around, if you guys haven't already seen the movie Concussion by Will Smith, with Will Smith in it, I'd highly recommend watching that ahead of this conversation because it ties right into the Tommy McDonald thing that you're talking about with his brain, and just it'll definitely make you look at football very, very differently, and just the effect that it has on these guys, and that goes all the way to boxing and things like that.
Right.
What it does to these guys. But Concussion, Will Smith is the lead actor in it, and it's a really eye-opening movie. I think I saw it in the movie theater when it came out with Anthony. It's fascinating.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
right.
we definitely, let's put this on our to-do list. Let's start a bucket list for this fan's view because,
What a
We've,
list! What a
yeah,
list!
I mean,
Let's dive into
it's gonna
CTE
be-
and football players' heads.
we crack the hard subjects. I mean,
Mhm.
we just don't go about, talking about, nothing.
Exactly.
Speaking of
some
talking about nothing, it's Flyers time.
oh man. Wow.
That was a really, really good segue. Really good segue. It's really good.
I'm crushed.
Like,
Talk about head trauma.
You got blindsided right there.
Well, what are they doing?
Yeah, nothing.
losing.
Well, they won yesterday.
Mm.
Yeah, they did. They did. They
Monday
came,
night.
So
was that the game that came back from 3-0? They were dead for two periods, and
For 2 periods. That's what they
No,
got to do. to
the
Buffalo.
the day before that. Last night it was just the Sixers.
Right. Yeah. It was Monday night.
Sixers.
Monday night.
Monday
Yeah,
night
yeah.
they're back at it tonight with Buffalo.
yes,
Oh
they are.
boy, great.
They're on major TV, big time TV tonight, hockey night.
And they were smart and waited until the show was over to start the game.
Same
And the
thing
NHL
tonight.
Network is picking up the Phantoms game tonight. I think that starts.
Oh, cool. So are they
that-
trying to compete against Godzilla versus King Kong because that come out today too?
Oh.
So, all right. So what else we got Flyers wise? You got 2 minutes.
Well, we had a big 2 minutes. My God, you've really turned the page on this.
I'll give you 3. I'll give you 3.
Wow. So I guess the big conversation is Ghost Shane Gostisbehere being put on waivers, basically being offered around the league for the sake of a couple dollars. Anybody could have had him. I guess basically you're picking up a half a year this year and then all of next year. And I guess the price was just a little too steep. So what does that tell you? The player's obviously not worth $4.5 million.
Right.
Which
So if you could see us, if you could get anybody you wanted for him, who would you get?
well, at this point, that's a difficult question because you're trying to fill a few holes that they have. Because their defense has become so offensive oriented, that the defensemen don't play any defense,
Right.
and that's just god awful because that just leaves your goaltender out high and dry night in and night out. Ghost, and we knew this from the beginning. He's a one-trick pony. He's got the big slap shot, plays no defense whatsoever.
Jack's got an
And-
answer.
Yeah. I was hoping he was going to jump in because he's got some great conversation when it comes to the Flyers.
I think when it comes time for playoffs, I think we need to have Jack back on.
And that's
That's if they make the playoffs.
Well,
we'll put that on our bucket list, But no, it's just they're missing a lot of pieces right now. The big one that I see is leadership. Somebody physical, a Chris Pronger type. Somebody that can just take somebody in the boards and let them know that they're playing the Flyers. And the Flyers haven't had that for a few years now.
Right.
And I think that's a big problem.
Well, it was a little telling on Monday night when after the game, listening to Drew talk, and at the second and in the second period, AV didn't go into the locker room because he wasn't talking to the guys because he was fed up with them, and the guys had their own speaking and stuff, and they asked him if he said anything, and he says, "No, I didn't say anything, but Bunneman did," and he got the players fired up. I'm like, well, you're the captain. That's your job. Like, it goes back to, what Lauren, has been saying about him and stuff. And, it was just like, you guys came back and won the game. The veterans there, him and
should have never taken that. It should have never even got to that point.
Right. Exactly. But that's the second time this year that they did that against Buffalo, going down 3-0 and had to come back. And, it's just, I don't know. It's crazy to see, but.
So the Ghost move yesterday to put him on waivers, he clears waivers. Is that just a mental thing? Is that just to scare the guys? Is that to make them? Because putting Ghost on waivers, I don't know that does it. I don't know that scares the guys enough to start playing better. I don't know. What was the idea behind that? You were hoping to move them, or were you hoping to scare the guys in the locker room? We better get our shit together or we could be next.
Well, is it that, or thank God it wasn't me, I'm safe?
Well, I think it was the way it came up a little bit too, because now that he passed through waivers and didn't get claimed, people, he might be like, well, look, nobody really wants you in the league, especially at that price tag too. That's part of the problem, but it clears up $4.5 million off of the cap for them with that.
Yeah,
move.
but they only inherit like a little over $1 million, because they still have them around.
Right.
Well, I
is
don't
he
think it counts against him being on the taxi squad.
Well, is he still playing?
Well, he's put back on the taxi squad right now with the Flyers.
But they don't get the full $4 million, John.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they don't get the full $4 million. And to talk what Lauren's talking about, you're talking about guys that are making a lot of money and underachieving right now. Guys that they're just not getting the job done. Tonight, you got who is it? Lindblom. Lindblom's out of the lineup.
And Patrick,
right?
And Nolan Patrick. They're supposed to be your future.
Mm-hmm.
They're supposed to be your young guys. And what kind of message is the coach sending? With this, you want to send a message? Take Jake Voracek or JVR and sit their ass. You want to send a message? You're picking all the young guys. The Carter Harts, the Nolan Patricks. And now Lindblom. You cut ties with Ghost. I just don't. John, this goes back to the way the Eagles, were doing things, and you talked about it. They're ass backwards.
right?
They're just ass backwards right now. We went through this whole defunk. When Hextall, got fired and they cleaned house, and we thought that was the greatest.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's coming back to bite us in the ass big time.
Right. Oh yeah.
So-
No, you're right.
Jack just brought up something very interesting.
Trade for a goalie.
Yeah, is that to have 3 or to get rid of one?
I didn't hear that rumor.
Yeah, the Detroit Red Wings goalie.
I did not hear that rumor. Maybe they're thinking about sending Hart back to the Phantoms to play. Elliott's not going to be able to play every night.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Brenner.
So you're talking about having 3 with, having Hart be your first and then have 2 subs?
Well,
no.
He's mentioned Jack's mentioning Jonathan Bernier. I don't know. That's no better than, Brian Elliott. You know what I mean? But are they giving up on Hart for this year? You know, I really didn't like the comments that, you know, the coach came out with.
They're a little
that
telling.
just, you know, that just is that's a ball buster. You know, that that Hart wasn't practicing enough. He wasn't practicing hard enough.
Wow.
I mean, I just, you know, that just to me, I mean, to call out a player like that, you know, have you lost the locker room already? Because you can't have this conversation with the player mano a mano, and you got to go to the press to share this.
Mm.
You know, I gotta question you as a coach, you know, with this, because I'm sorry, that's not the right approach.
Right.
No.
Well, he seems to be really annoyed, like, and he's taking his frustration to the press now. He seems to have reached a level of, you know, I can't get through to them in the locker room, or I'm not able to get through to them in the locker room. So now I'm going to talk around them, and I know they're going to hear about it. So he seems to be at another level of frustration. But what does that do for Ghost's, like, self-confidence? The team I'm on doesn't want me. They put me on waivers. No one in the NHL wants me. And now I'm back on this taxi squad for what? When somebody gets hurt and the Flyers need me again?
Right.
And then you're going to want me to perform? F you. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't know how you come back around and perform like that. And Carter Hart, you know, I hope I'm wrong, but he's becoming the next Carson Wentz, but I feel very differently about Carter Hart. But, you know, they're making him out to be this enemy, and I don't know why. If they've given up on the season, then let the kid out there and play.
Right.
And figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
Also, if you remember correctly, the reason why we shooed Hextall out of town was because he was insistent that Carter Hart wasn't ready, that he was not ready for the pros, and the Flyers had nothing. They had nothing left to sell the fans on the team. They had no one. Everyone had given up on the team, and they forced Carter Hart out there. And yeah, he did well in the beginning. Maybe it was beginner's luck, but this could very well, Hextall could be sitting in Pittsburgh right now in his Jeep just saying, I told you he wasn't ready. You forced him out there, and now look what you did to him.
Yeah, it's true.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you got a little bit of that, but I think you got a lot of there's some bad chemistry, you know, as far as the defensive players and the way they've got these guys all geared up for, you know, for attacking the puck and not being stay-at-home defensemen and not protecting the ice. As soon as they dump that puck, man, they cross that blue line and they're all in. And they just, you know, they're just leaving their goalie high and dry, you know, and let's face it, you know, they're not Patrick Waugh, they're not, you know, Martin Brodeur, they're not Bernie Parent. They're not gonna make 9 out of 10 saves. You know?
Even those guys wouldn't be doing, you know, making those saves, giving up the chances that they're giving up. You know, now.
This is a different game nowadays, and you know, it's insane because, you know, you look at, was it Saturday afternoon's game, right? There's more emotion. Sam Moran, guys had 2 reconstructive knee surgeries. You know, any other hockey player would have quit and went home, right? You know, here he is, you know, scoring the game winner. There's so much emotion and so much celebration. You would think you would be feeding off of that, right?
Yep, it should be.
I don't get it. I really don't. How many coaches are we going to fire with the Flyers? I mean, I think we lead the league in fired coaches.
Yeah.
I mean, it's terrible. It really is. It's just, I'm not a fan of coaches calling out players through the media. I think that's the wrong approach. If you're not getting their attention, you know, you don't sit them for one game. You sit them for 2, 3, 4 games until they put the extra ice time, practice ice time together, and prove to you that they deserve to be back on the ice. Right. You know, not calling them out through the press.
Right.
Not that matters anymore because everything's virtual. It's not even a live press conference. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, I mean, it's just not the same anymore. But the Flyers are in trouble. They're in trouble because, you know, some of these guys are just, you know, the Sandheims of the world, the Myers of the world. they're just not filling, the slot that they've been put into.
Right. Yeah. Putting extra pressure on Provolov as well.
Yep.
He's struggling
Yep.
as well. So
Yep.
trying to make up for everybody else.
And with that, we'll move over to opening day tomorrow.
Ooh.
Opening day tomorrow. Here we go. Hey, before we jump into the Phillies, and nobody's more excited about it than me, but is this not Philly sports? I mean, we got quarterback controversy, we got goalie controversy, we got controversy on the show. It's just.
Why do we have controversy on the show? Who's got controversy?
Wow, I don't get along with that guy up there in the left-hand corner.
It's the other one.
Yeah, the other
that guy?
one, that guy over there.
Can't help it
Yeah.
if I'm always right.
Yes, see, there you go.
Oh,
God.
John, that's
There you go. He's
right,
still
so-
working on 55. Here we are. It's 58. Oh yeah,
I got it right this time.
yeah.
All
Attaboy.
right.
Now, seriously, Philly sports, right?
Absolutely.
Here we are.
Day.
Here we are. And we talked in the Eagles segment. We even missed the boat that they traded away the sixth pick in the draft, right? What the hell's going on around here?
Yeah, and both guys that they wanted, Chase and Pitts both had awesome combine days and stuff and their pro days, and it's just we're
Lauren, we need a
gonna
2-hour
regret that.
show.
We're gonna
We
regret
need
that.
2 hours. 2 hours.
We do.
show.
We definitely do.
God.
It's just opening days tomorrow. Well, we know Mario's not going.
I won't be there. So
I know I won't be there.
No,
Anybody heading down?
not me. I'll be watching
I know-
that from TV.
I know they sold all 8,000 tickets that they had available. So
I'm sure
Oh,
they
yeah.
did. I'm sure they sold out in record time too.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
I
they're all out there on StubHub going crazy.
In true Philly fashion, though, just as the Flyers are imploding, the Eagles seem to not really have an idea of what's going on. The Sixers are holding their own. Here come the Phillies, and I feel like the Flyers are like, "Oh, thank God," for a little while.
No, it's true.
Just right when you need another sport to sort of just get your mind off of it, the Flyers are like, "Have at it, opening day." Catch us next month, maybe when we're doing a little better. But
Yeah.
it seems like when the other teams aren't holding their own, it's always right at the time for another team to season to start, and that we just divert our attention. And the Flyers, I'm sure, are thrilled about that.
Maybe
doubt.
that's why Joe already announced today that Hector Neris is the closer today to take the pressure off of those other teams. To get Carl fired up.
Well, who did you expect him to name?
see, that was my thing too.
Exactly.
I saw that coming.
Anybody but Hector. Anybody but Hector.
Nope.
They haven't talked about anyone else. There hasn't been anyone else. And no,
Hector's going to be fine.
as if it was anyone else.
Yeah, they're not going to need
Him and
him.
Connor Brogdon. Him and Connor Brogdon last year were two stable guys in the bullpen.
Yeah, they're not
Out-
going
out of that
to
whole
need
mess.
Hector. They're not going to need Hector, I don't think.
Wow.
Well, they'll need him.
Not tomorrow. It's my guess.
See,
All
there's Joe Stinger. He got my back. Hector nervous. You know what I mean? Come on. Seriously.
All you got to do is just
Mike Schmidt's going to the home opener. I know he'll be tailgating.
Yep.
He'll be popping them cold ones in the parking lot.
Yeah. Just don't make sure you be careful because you're not allowed to tailgate this year. But-
Yeah, I want to see how they're going to put a stop to that.
Well, we kind of saw that at the link when we were there for Lauren's birthday. How they like to to be on top of everybody. So
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be able to completely stop it. I think people are going to find a way around it.
no, hopefully
So-
we're Philadelphia. It's part of the baseball and sporting events, the tailgate.
Right.
So
So, anybody got any insight on who the starting center fielder is tomorrow?
Not a Double Herrera.
Nope. So it's between who? Quinn and Hazley?
Yes.
My guess is they go with Quinn. That's just a guess. I don't
Well,
have
you're-
anything to
you're
base
around
that on.
for a couple games before he gets hurt, and then it'll be Hazley.
So you're going that righty lefty matchup then? Is that what you're thinking is?
No, I'm just thinking they're gonna start Quinn off. I don't. Like I said, I have nothing to base that on. It's just a hunch.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
it kind of sounded today when Girardi was talking. Maybe it might be Hazley, but that he'll get some more playing time this year against the lefties, but they won't be doing a strict lefty righty matchup. But kind of leaning that way a little bit, but he also
So
needs.
does that put McCutcheon in left?
Yeah, McCutcheon's going to be in left
Yeah.
the whole. He'll be there the whole year when he plays.
When did he make that transition? Was I not around?
He's always been in left field.
Yeah, if we're with the Phillies.
When he played for Pittsburgh, wasn't he always a center fielder?
Yeah,
He
yeah.
was.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I
put
think probably
him
with the Yankees.
Back
probably when
to
he
that,
went to the-
or is he past that ability?
Well, the knee injuries, hurt him for doing
Well,
that.
did he
He's
not play a few games last year in center field?
when they needed him to? Yeah, they
Yeah.
had to put him out there to.
And I think that's what Lauren's referring to.
right.
I mean, it's I'd like to fast forward 5-6 months and hope that Mickey Moniak really
Right.
catches fire in Lehigh Valley, because I really honestly think, the kid has matured, his body has matured. I
Right.
think he can, and come on, a left-handed stick playing center field. If this kid can produce just a little bit,
Yeah.
that's going to be an upgrade because I don't know. We shouldn't write off Hazley, but is he going to be a 20-25 home run guy? I don't think so.
No, I don't think Hazley's got that.
You know what I mean?
potential, but-
Quinn's been around long enough that we all joke about, the injuries and whatnot, but he's out of options,
Right.
so you're at the end of the road with Quinny, when it comes to that, and he's a hamstring away from being, on the DL again.
Yeah.
So, I think Mickey Moniak is your, future center fielder. Maybe we see him by, middle of July.
Yeah, because Hazley might slide over to left field if
Kutch.
in a year or two when McCutcheon's done.
Right.
And have Moniak there as well, unless they get somebody else to play left field. But
Right.
yeah, that might be the move there later on. I think the 40 or the 26 man roster was pretty straightforward. I mean, there was a couple.
So help me out here. Do we still have that 3-batter rule for the relief pitchers? Is that
Yes.
still in play?
That was as far as I know right at the moment that's still in there for this year.
And
Because
they
that
went
was
back-
confusing. That was confusing as all hell last year. It made Joe was having a hard time with that.
Yeah,
No.
it was a little bit fun, especially with the bullpen that we had last year with
Right.
guys, giving up the ball a lot. I think this year, that's why we have a lot of the righties in there that they can get lefties out just as well.
and we're not doing
with
the
reverse splits.
the national. National division's not doing no, national
DH.
league's not doing the DH anymore.
No.
Not this year.
Good.
No, it'll probably be back.
Oh,
It'll-
I'm sure. I'm sure it will be. But I see why they did it last year. I think it was just a good way for them to give it a test run. But I have no doubt that they're going to try to bring it back.
Oh yeah, no, I think it's definitely a better brand of baseball offensively than having your pitchers. And the pitchers are making so much money these days. You don't want them out there getting hurt, running the bases, swinging a bat. And then too many of them are doing that, getting hit with the pitch, whatever, and get hurt and not being able to pitch because they were batting. So,
So Brian was asking if they're still going to do the man on second for 10 after extra innings.
I don't believe they are doing that this year.
Really?
They're still doing that in the minor leagues.
Right.
They're doing that. They're doing a few more changes down in the minor leagues this year. I don't know that I like the one with adding 3 inches to the base, making the bases 3 inches bigger. So I don't like that one myself.
Why?
Well, just because of trying to a little bit more protection for guys at second base, for the second baseman or the shortstop to be protected with the base, and then guys at first base as well. Being able to not collide or whatever. But yeah, I don't like that one myself, just because of shorten up the bases a little bit. That those 3 inches. I mean, you look at how many bang plays there are as it is. Might get a little bit more offense with the stolen bases and that kind of stuff, but nobody steals bases anymore. So I don't know why, you need that. But
who knows?
But no, I think the team's going to be pretty good shape. I mean, there's only a couple. What do you think, Carl? I think there was only probably about 2 or 3 different positions that out of the 26 that were a little bit of a shocker to me. But
yeah, I mean, we talked about it. I think all spring training. You know what I mean? As far as the bullpen needed a major overhaul, which it got.
mm-hmm.
We weren't sure if any one of the potential center fielders were going to, have a, lights out spring training, and nobody really did. I don't think anyone won the job. I think it was a matter of, all right, we'll send this guy back. We'll send this guy back. This guy, we're not really sure. We'll send him back. And, you're left with Hazley and Quinn. I think if Scott Kingery had been, on fire and played really, really well, I think it was his job to take. I really do.
Yeah. Joe mentioned that today. He really likes him playing center field. So.
It's just, I mean, he's got to figure things out. I don't think Odubel Herrera will ever see Citizens Bank Park. I just don't think that it was ever an option. Why they're holding on to him, I have no idea. Maybe if the other 4 guys come down with COVID and they're in an emergency situation, it's the only thing I can say. But I think they're just waiting for the right opportunity to totally cut ties.
Right. I think the $10 million's hurting them, as far as they don't want to cut them and then have somebody pick them up and they're paying them the $10 million and the other team's not paying them anything since nobody's going to trade for them right at the moment. And
we've seen that a few times, with Philly players. So, we'll chalk that up to Gabe Kapler and Matt Klintak. What I mean? Those two guys put us in a real bad spot, with a few players.
Yeah, now we're dealing with the fallout from it.
Yep.
It's just I'm curious to get you guys' opinion. We can go around the horn. What are you thinking? How many wins? Where can the Phillies be at the end of the season? Can we throw a number on it? You guys in the mood to make a prediction?
I'm going between 88 and 91 wins.
That's aggressive. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
So I'm hoping for 90, but I figure I'd give it a window. So,
I mean, that gets you, that's a serious playoff spot.
right.
I mean, if that happens. Yeah. John, what are you thinking?
I'm about 85 to 88 wins myself, and not so much because I think they're going to be bad. I just think because of our division's going to be that tough.
It's going to be a tough division.
Just beating up on each other.
Right.
So I mean, I don't know that you're going to get a 90 win team out of anybody in this division, just because of everybody beating up on each other. Playing 4 other teams 19 times. You got 76 games there. Of your 162 are against your division. That's a lot. That's a lot of splitting, a lot of games, hopefully,
Right.
or series type of things with those guys. So,
Being positive, John.
oh yeah, well, no, but I'm just saying, you look at it the way it was last year, and you got you hope to be able to split with the Braves. I mean, the Braves, are a pretty stacked team.
Well, we're gonna find out real quick.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. The first 13 games are against the Mets and the Braves this year. So,
Right.
that's a tough way to start off the schedule. Or a good way to start the schedule if you get off to a hot start, you can, gain that lead in the division there. So yeah, I mean it's going to be tough, and I think that's probably
Lauren,
85.
you got a prediction for us?
I don't want to bring down the house or anything, but I'm going to stick around the 80 mark. I'm just,
Wow.
there's still a few unanswered questions for me. Does Reese Hoskins finally have a good year this year? Is Andrew McCutchen, does he have anything left in the tank? How good is this bullpen that we, supposedly upgraded over the offseason? There's just still, I think, some uncertainties there for me. I'm not sure that we're there yet up at the 90, 91 wins.
Wow. She
Well,
just
the
killed
over-under in
she just
Vegas
killed the
is
show.
81.5.
Well, there was a side conversation happening while you guys were talking Phillies. The Flyers signed Cam York.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, Cam York.
Yeah, Jack was excited about that. Him and Joe Stinger were having a side conversation. You guys saw that. So what does that mean exactly? I hate to be like, a stupid Flyers fan, but does that mean he goes to the Phantoms now? Does he come to the Flyers? Like, where does he go? Because we signed him. We drafted him in 2019, so I don't really understand.
Yeah, he was the 14th overall pick. He's a defenseman. But again, here you go. 5'11", 175 pounds. It fits the mold of the Flyers defenseman, that want to jump up and score goals. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Captain
And,
USA.
nice
Yeah,
player.
that's
very,
not a big-
very,
that's
very
not a
nice
big guy.
player out of the University of Michigan. Probably a good year or two away from playing for the big team. I need the Flyers to be aggressive at the trade deadline, but I want to get back to 80 wins, mid 80 wins, 90 wins. We're all over the place.
What do you got, Carl?
We're all over. I'm right in the middle. I'm like 85, 87. My big thing, and I got my ass kicked 2019 at the trade deadline when I talked about trading Reese Hoskins.
I remember that.
At that time, I need him to have an MVP type year. He needs to walk to the plate with the mindset that the ball has to leave the park.
But do you? I mean, do we need him to have an MVP year? If he
Yes.
does perform this
Yes.
year, can he easily be replaced by Derek Hall and we all just move on with our lives?
You can, but you're paying him almost $6 million. And you need to, you've invested heavily in him for all these years, and you need him. He needs to have a breakout year. He needs to be aggressive.
Well,
Cut
I feel
down
like
on the
they've done that for
strikeouts.
the last 10 years.
No, I mean, I think well, the problem with him and Kingery, they had the Kapler effect happening to them. So, I think you're going to see big things out of Reese this year. But I don't know. I agree with you, Lauren. I don't know if you need to have an MVP year out of him, but
It's got to be
be
close.
solid. Well, but just be solid. I mean, with this lineup, you're going to be able to drive in some runs. So, do your job. Get the ball in play, and start using that right side of the field. Once you start seeing him hitting the right center field, then he's going to be having a good year.
Right.
That's not enough for me. That's not enough for me because that's not what you groomed him to be. You groomed him to be a big stick in the lineup. You're putting him in a lineup with JT Realmuto, with Didi Gregorius, with Bryce Harper. I mean, he's right in the middle of this. This should take a lot of pressure off of him.
Oh no, but he's not going to win the MVP on this team.
I'm not saying I said
well-
an MVP type season.
Right.
Where he's in the he's in the box score every night and not for 3 strikeouts.
Makes sense.
No, I mean, I agree there. Like I said, I mean, I don't see him. You know, if anybody's going to win the MVP, it's going to be Harper first, and
No, no
unless
question
JT goes
about it.
crazy,
Right.
it's going to be.
I'll take back my MVP type comment.
Yes, Dad. How dare you?
I
mention
need him to
Reese
have
Hoskins
an
as an
aggressive season. I need him to jump out of the gate tomorrow. You know what I mean? With a 3 for 5 day. And I don't mean 3 strikeouts.
Right.
I need him to be aggressive. If he's healthy and he's playing first base, he's my guy.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
All right.
absolutely.
And with that, we've gone past our time, as you know, in typical This Fans View fashion. So we will
Perfect.
start. What's that?
Perfect.
There you go.
Wouldn't
So we'll
have it
start
any other way.
With
Exactly.
takeaways. Lauren, what do you got?
I guess I will jump in for Anthony here, who is currently working. As of right now, May 4th is their opening night. So that means that right now all the AA guys and the single A guys and stuff are ready to take on spring training. That's how they broke up the season this year. So, or how they broke up camp this year. So all those guys now are getting ready to do their thing in spring training, and they're going up for May 4th. Here as their home opener. So that's exciting. Everybody's got their fingers crossed that obviously can happen and that the guys, get on that plane and this way a few days before that. So they had that egg hunt this weekend, and I think there's still tickets for it. I think I saw that on Facebook earlier today. So if anyone's interested in doing an Easter egg hunt, that's happening on Saturday.
I heard they were hard boiled too. I saw
Yes,
the breaking news.
I don't think they're actually hard boiled. I met somebody that Anthony works with, this girl Jenna. One piece of candy fits inside each egg, and so she was given the task to stuff probably thousands and thousands of eggs. I can imagine.
Oh my God.
She drew the short end of the stick on that one.
That's it. One piece of
Wow.
candy.
What
All right.
what'd she have to say?
She's coming up with her basket.
All right.
God. All right. John, what do you got?
Well, tonight's. I don't know if I'm going to be sleeping. It's going to be like Christmas Eve for me tonight. Go with the opening day tomorrow. Starting up, we got optimism with this team. I think it's going to be fun. Let's just ride this one out. We got a general or a manager that knows what he's doing. We got a bullpen that has pieces out there to do. Are they going to be perfect this year? No, they're not going to be perfect. But let's ride them out. It's not a football season, so like you use a 10 game gauge, and if they win 6 out of 10 or 5-5, it's a win in a football season. And don't get yourself all stressed out over one loss here or one win here.
Is he telling us not to get stressed out?
I don't know.
think in general.
He's putting me to sleep.
He's telling us not to get stressed out if the team loses once.
Yeah. Imagine that.
Huh.
Imagine that. Can we go back a year?
Well, we didn't do it. I didn't complain at all last year with Girardi. It's Kapler when he was in here. Yes, I did, because he was a bonehead. He was doing the same things every week, every game, doing the same mistakes.
Oh
So,
my God.
it's going to be fun this year. So let's enjoy this ride.
All right. Boss man,
Phillies.
you're up.
Go Phillies. I want to welcome Stephanie Brogdon and her husband Mike to town. They're en route to Philadelphia. If they're not already here, they're in town for the next 2 homestands to root on their son Connor Brogdon.
Very cool.
And we're excited for them because we feel like we're a little bit part of the family. Stephanie has been on the show with us, and she knows a little bit about sports as well. Welcome to Philadelphia. I hope the city shows well for you guys. And it's Philly sports, man. If there ain't something to talk about, it's happening in this town.
Yeah, as you can tell, as we constantly go overtime, but
Yeah.
we don't care.
All right.
So, all right, cool. Happy opening day. Happy Easter on Sunday. Hope everybody's doing something good.
Yep.
With that, Thanks for joining.
Yep.
Have a good week.
Yep.
See you next week.
Thanks,
next week.
everybody.
See
Thank
ya.
you.
Happy Easter.
Go Phils.